Hi, my friends. Ayesha Creates is the platform where if you are in the mind frame that, hey, I need to start planning for my retirement. When I say that, I don't just mean monetary. I mean, what will it look like? And let's move beyond retirement. Let's look into long term, right? Let's look into long term care. You know, sometimes we just have it in our minds that I'll do it tomorrow or I'm not ready for there yet. I cannot begin to tell you how many individuals are living in long term care homes that are in their 40s and 50s and 60s. So when you hear of the term or the name long term care, please do not think that these homes are just for individuals that are frail or that are in their 80s and onward. Please. And that is the reason why I am adamant about you contacting me. Let's, find out how I can be of service to you. I am here as a consultant. I'm a life coach wherein I want to be able to guide you in your journey. And it is not monetary. Thinking about your long-term care doesn't mean long-term care in a home, but it's all the pieces. And if someone would sit with you and have a conversation, and start to help you plan in some ways how you can go about this, your long-term care experience can be amazing. It can be amazing. And I am afraid that I have to say that, most of the things that you're hearing out there regarding, how horrible long term care is, they're not. They're not. And amazingly, there are a number of individuals with these complaints that might hardly be involved in coming into the homes until something happens. And then that's another piece as well. You know, as family members, as, um, caregivers, it's important to be visible, be visible for your loved ones within these homes. And, if you are, then surprises will not be there, right? And that goes for anything in any situation. If you were to purchase a property and you were just to leave it sitting there, or you hardly visit that property site, you might be in for some surprises when you do go, you know. So these long-term care homes can be fabulous. And I know because I have worked in retirement and long-term care setting now over 50, not 50, wow, that would be interesting. Over 25 years I have been in these environments. And so when I speak to you, it's from a place of knowledge. It's from a place of knowledge. Now, just for a few minutes, I would like to find out and have you think, what is it that crosses your mind all day long? Like, what are some of the prominent, most dominant thoughts that populates your mind as you're sitting there thinking, okay, so now I am 50, 60, soon to retire. What do I do with my time, and where do I live, and how do I downsize, and all of these pieces we think about. And with getting older, sometimes we can start to feel scared, call it what you may, worry, concern, but it doesn't have to be. And that's where I come in, right? um, If you'd like to give me a call at ayeshamotivates@gmail.com, it could be yourself, it could be a loved one. You could be calling on behalf of a loved one. And you don't have to be ready to knock on a door or call, and start planning, you know, getting into a long term care setting or retirement setting in order for you to contact me. I am speaking to you, the individual who is thinking to themselves, maybe I should start considering this. If you're going on a trip, your children are getting married or whatever the case may be, you'd plan, and you wouldn't plan until, the day that you're off work to go. You'd have to have your ticket, you'd have to have your bags packed, and all of those things, right? So why is it that we're waiting until we've had a fall, until we've had a stroke, or any of these things before the idea of being placed in one of these places? Oftentimes it's a surprise, it's not planned. And I've spoken to numerous individuals who have said that at the time of having a tour of one of these homes to place the loved one, that's the time that they're first now setting feet in one of these homes. Many of you out there listening to me, you've not been inside of a long term care or a retirement home setting. And if you have, perhaps it's because some individuals go to maybe sing to residents with choirs or something like that. You've been in the lobby area, but you've not been on the floor, you've not sat down and or maybe join in a recreational program. It is so important to know what these environments are about. So now getting back to my question to you, what is it that you think about most of the day? And this is important to me, but it should also be important to you, because the Bible tells us the 66 love letters that God left us said that as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And that death and life is in the power of the tongue. So, in your planning and thinking of your retirement years, the fruits of that is what you will see, right? So, I would like to see you planning. I don't want you to be surprised. I don't want you to get to that stage where someone else has taken a tour and now they've deemed this place the best place for you. And oftentimes, these are individuals that you've not been in close contact with for quite a while. Or maybe it's the hospital that's now just bringing you to this place because you live on your own and you've got no one set up to help you. These are serious, serious things. And oftentimes, this is not a discussion that's out there. Oftentimes, I hear individuals talking about retirement and all of these things based on monetary. It is not, I would argue actually, I would argue that it's not all about the money. If you're thinking, oftentimes when people think of that, they think of retirement, the early stages. And I would like you to start planning in your early stages while you live fully. I'm all about individuals living fully. That's why in my presentations to you, when I speak of the now, planning now, living now for then. Because we cannot wait until that time comes. And what you're thinking and how you're thinking now, daily into your future, is how you will see and be, because out of the abundance of what you've been thinking and populating your mind with, that's what your actions will then play out with, and your words. And again, death and life is in the power of your tongue. So what are you thinking about? Because what you're thinking about and how you're thinking about your retirement years is, that's what will come forth for you. but worse yet is what others tell you as well. So be mindful of how you uh, dissect what individuals say regarding retirement home and long-term care, whatever what you hear. I need you to denounce all the negativities that you hear in the news regarding long-term cares and retirement homes, and oh, these are horrible places. They don't have to be. And for the most part, the staff members who work in these places they become family. Family is not just about blood. It is not blood, and I know you know this. So when the staff members are working so closely with loved ones in these homes, the residents in the homes, for myself, I run programs with them, and I deal with the social aspect, and so that enables me to listen to them and talk with them and laugh with them, and sometimes cry with them, and we become family. And one of my shtick is to get them to speak, because oftentimes we're saying or doing. I encourage residents to speak, to have a voice. It's so important. So these homes are not all bad that you hear in the news. There are lovely, lovely homes to many individuals. So much so that when something happens, or they go to visit a family member's home overnight, or they go to the hospital for a long stay and they return, they're saying, "Oh, I'm so glad I'm home." Or they would have gone to a family member's home, and we would hear that they would say, "Oh, I would like to go back, I would like to go home." And they're speaking of the retirement homes or the long-term care homes. I would like you to be mindful of how you articulate what you're thinking about when it comes to your retirement and your long-term care future. And also be mindful of all the negative things that you're hearing out there in the news, because they're not all true. And I encourage you to take an active role in seeking out where you might possibly want to live out your later years, should we be so blessed. Should we be so blessed, right? It's an honor. I came across a stamp. I create journals and such for sale. If you check me out on Young's Paper Creations, that's my site where I showcase all my journals that I make and I sell. I encourage journaling. But I came across a stamp that I use for my paperwork, and the stamp says, "Old age is not for sissies. Old age is not for sissies, not for the weak, not for the frail." When someone has lived to be 80 and 90 and beyond, or even late 70s, I say fantastic, and what a blessing that is. Can you imagine being able to withstand illnesses and breakups, divorces, losing children? And if you are fortunate to live beyond 90 or 80 something, many of your friends and families would have, passed on before you sometimes, right? And yet, individuals are there in these homes at 80 and 90 and 100. How fantastic is that? So, yes, old age is not for sissies, it's for the strong. And I need you to be strong so that you could live out your years in full. So, be mindful of what you're thinking, how you're thinking, and what you're listening to. Seek out the information for yourself. When this crazy, as I like to say, coronavirus, stuff is all over, seek out the homes that are closest to you and be a volunteer. Take part in the life, in the environment, in the culture, and have a deeper understanding of where you would like to see yourself. And when everyone get together and make this a community and acknowledge that this could possibly be a place where your loved ones could be, or where you can be one day, then there will be just joy, because you know where you're going, right? It's like heaven. You live a life and you're like, you know what? I know there's heaven and a hell, and I know I want to go to heaven. So what? So you live for heaven. Your actions will show. Yes, you'll fall, you'll falter, but you will get up and go back and be on your journey on the narrow road to Christ rather than the broad road where everything goes, right? I need you to be actively involved in your future life in retirement slash long term care. And it's not a scary thing to think about, and there's no time gauge for anyone because anything can happen, and there are individuals that could be in there between 40 something and beyond that. All right, so when you hear retirement and long-term care and planning, do not think of some way down in the future. No, it could be sooner than later for some of us. Ayesha Motivates. Contact me, and I would love to find out if we're a good fit for each other. My life coaching style is just nice and open, sharing, what I can with you in order for you to be prepared, for you to be ready. And if you've got a loved one that needs help, let's find out how they can actively take part in their planning of this lovely journey called life, because there's so much ahead. All right, there's so much ahead. And until our eyes close in death, life should be lived out full. Ask Betty White, ask um, Sophia Loren, ask so many of the individuals. And I'm calling names because these are names that maybe, many people will know. But I'm sure you've got individuals, friends and others and loved ones who are at those later stages of their lives as well. Actively planning comes with how we think, what we think about all day, and what we take in. That's all. I need you to think about what you're thinking about, because as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Death and life is in the power of the tongue, and out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So be very careful. I thank you. I look forward to hearing from you. Ayesha Motivates. I am absolutely, absolutely passionate about your being prepared for your future long term care setting. And it starts with your planning today. Take care, and God bless and keep you. Bye bye.